Fascinating story coming up right now, and one of those stories that you don't think could happen here, but in fact it is right now. A young woman sharing her story about being lured into prostitution by gang members. Joining us live this afternoon, Pamela Brown, who spoke to the victim, and she joins us now with more on this exclusive story. And this was something that you've been working on for a while now. And again, as I say, a lot of people are going to say, this is someplace else, this isn't here. Right. But no, it is right here, and it's right now.
It's happening in affluent Fairfax County. As we speak, according to authorities, are saying that children, girls as young as 12 years old, are being exploited by these gang members who look at these young girls as dollar signs. To these gang members, they think we can make hundreds of dollars a night, week after week, you know, month after month, preying on these young girls. And the victim I interviewed was 16 years old when she was lured into prostitution.
And the story of this young woman, too, is this was a woman from a young woman from a middle-class background, educated, going to a private school, all of the things that you think you're supposed to do to try and get ahead and be a success. And yet it was just that chance meeting with one of these procurers, I guess, and her life has changed, maybe forever.
Maybe forever. She says that she still doesn't know what normal is. She says she suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder after all of this. And like you said, it was a chance encounter at the Springfield Metro station. Here's a girl home for the summer from her boarding school. A guy sees her at the bus stop, walks up and says, "Oh, you're really pretty," you know, fawning all over her. And to her, she's thinking, "Oh, I'm special. This is making me feel good." And before she knew it, she was sleeping with, she says, 40 or more men a day at area apartment complexes in Alexandria and Falls Church and parts of Maryland and in D.C., hooked on drugs, and she felt trapped, like she couldn't get out. This
is organized crime in every sense of the word, because this is a very it's a big operation. It's very well run. There are all the sort of disciplines that you hear about in these kinds of things. These are young women completely under the pimp's control in this. How did she finally get out?
That's a good question, because I asked her, I said, when you realized this lifestyle wasn't for you, why didn't you just run away and get help? And she said there were so many factors. First off, she was afraid of leaving. She was afraid she was going to get beaten up, that the gang members were going to tell her family because they knew where she lived. They would pick her up at home. She said in a weird way, she got so used to this attention, she thrived off the attention, and she was hooked on drugs. The only way she knew how to get the drugs was through the gang member. So it was this vicious cycle. And finally, a cop saw her in a neighborhood, and she stood out to the cop, and the cop called her parents. This was 4 months after she was first lured into prostitution. And what I think is interesting is, I know a lot of people sitting at home might be thinking, well, what about the parents? Where were they in all of this?
And we've got a portion of an interview you did with this young woman. Do you want to set this up a little bit, or does it require any
Yeah, this is basically on the note we were talking about the parents. You know, how did they not catch on to this? Well, the young woman says, you know, she was so good at lying to her parents that they just thought, oh, my daughter's going out, she's making friends. She hid it so well. So here's her talking about that.
When I started prostituting, it just became so normal. You know, I would go out, and I told my mom I was going to go to a friend's house. I'd go out and get money, come back, maybe. I was convincing myself that it was okay. So by doing that, I was able to show my parents that I was okay.
And that's what happens. I mean, what parent hasn't had a teenager to say, hey, I'm going to go spend the night at a friend's house?
And what happened to Susan is happening to other young women right now,
That's right. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District, there have been 23, at least 23 juveniles in our area in Northern Virginia who have been victims of this horrible crime.
And this story tonight?
It's going to air tonight at 11 p.m. and
on ABC 7.
On ABC 7 at 11 p.m. And then there's going to be a follow-up story looking at the bigger issue tomorrow at 5 p.m. And we should mention too, I just wanted to mention that authorities, federal authorities, the FBI, Homeland Security Investigations, and local police are really working hand in glove on this issue. And the sentences for these gang members who are caught are stiff. In the young woman's case, her trafficker was put behind bars for 40 years. So this is a serious crime with serious punishment.
Pamela Brown, taking the lid off of a story that I think a lot of people probably didn't want to believe, but clearly they need to after this. Pam, thanks so much. We will look forward to the report. It's on ABC 7 tonight at 11, and I'm sure we will run it tomorrow as well. Thanks so much for sharing it with us.